The Writer's Nook for Creatives. Welcome to the Writer's Nook. Today's topic is on fictional characterization. And the goal today is to show you how to develop storyline characters for your fiction novel or short story. Keep in mind, this is just a short, topical treatment on this subject today with subsequent treatments to follow in other videos. So if you want to learn more, subscribe to this channel, The Writer's Nook. And thumbs up this video so that I can be inspired to create more videos for you and other creatives like yourself. Now, onto the video. For writers, one tough tactic in story creation is the development of believable characters that readers can relate to. Yes, a crucial component in great fiction is the craft of character development. While it is important to create a character sketch to help you with this video will focus on the idea of what a character and fictional characterization is all about. One thing to know is that what a good story needs. No, correction, what a great story needs is to have compelling, realistic characters. Your characters should be well developed and believable. This is not only the case for novels but also short stories. In fact, short stories are often judged on the strength of their characters more than any other element. Strong characters are the backbone of any novel or short story. They have to be developed in a way that they come alive and make the reader invested in them. The best way to create strong characters is by giving them a backstory, fears, desires, and flaws. This will make them more believable and relatable. In this video you will be introduced to various character types for your novel or short story. The video give you ideas on how to create and develop an protagonist, antagonist, and other characters for your novel or short story. This includes sharing the personality elements for antagonists and what makes a good one for a story. So, what is a storyline character? A story character is the protagonist or antagonist of a story. It can also be any other person in the story. The protagonist is the key or most important character in any story. They're usually at the center of the action, and can be a hero or villain. A character's role is to advance the plot and create tension in the story. The protagonist is the key character and is usually the one who changes and develops the most during the course of the story. In many stories, the protagonist is the one who does this by undergoing most of the dramatic changes and development. The antagonist is usually someone who opposes or frustrates the protagonist's goal. There are the other characters types as well. There's the villain. The villain is an antagonist who is often evil and cruel, not usually on the side of good. There is the sidekick, a supporting character who is close to and helps the protagonist. The protector or guardian is usually in the role of protagonist. This is someone who protects others from harm or danger, but this guardian or protector and can be on either side of good or evil. Protecting other evildoers if he, she or it is opposing the protagonist. And is supporting the villain and antagonist. There are variations of the protagonist hero or heroine. While typically the role for protagonist is someone who is morally good and is trying to do what's right, acting as the hero or heroine. A twist on this character type is as the anti-hero. This protagonist has morally questionable intentions and motivations that drive her or him to act in amoral ways. Or, the individual just does not care about doing what's right. Whereas some event has twisted this character's personality. The twisted protagonist can be portrayed as a former victim, now on a pursuit for vengeance. Or, can be negatively, permanently altered as a personality. This protagonist does not have any power in the beginning of the story. But as they are often forced into difficult situations by other characters, they can learn how to achieve power to right a wrong. Or become the wrongdoer affecting others, including innocents. Other character types include the bystander. This type of protagonist doesn't have any agency in the plot, but they witness everything that happens to other characters. Such an individual might be able to give an outsider perspective on events that happen. This includes relaying information to law enforcement, the protagonist, or even the antagonist. So, how do you create a strong protagonist for your novel or short story? As the central character in a story, the protagonist is the character who has the main goal to achieve the story. Again, as she, he or it are the individual that drives the plot forward, as they are often at odds with another character or even a group of characters. And as most of us in real life can relate to the troubles of others, the protagonists are often what readers will most identify with. So in order to make your protagonist strong, you need to make them interesting and complex. But this is also true for other characters. Depending upon how good you become at plotting your story, the antagonist or even the sidekick could become alternately intriguing to readers. Keep in mind that the protagonist should be a dynamic character, meaning they should change as the story progresses. She, or he or it, should also have a clear goal that is achievable but difficult to get to. And it should be something that readers can relate to. Also, keep in mind that the antagonist will have the opposing goal. Or perhaps the antagonist wishes to achieve the same goal but denying it to the protagonist. But, back to the protagonist. This individual must not be portrayed as flawless because no one is perfect. Besides, people love reading about flawed characters who overcome adversity. Their plight would inspire hope for those who may see themselves in similar situations. Now, on how to create an antagonist or foil for your novel or short story. As previously stated, the antagonist is the person or thing that opposes the protagonist. The antagonist can be a person, an animal, a force of nature, a group of people, or any other entity that poses a problem for the protagonist. While the protagonist or hero is the main character in your novel or short story, it's important to remember the antagonist is their opponent. And while the antagonist can also be thought of as the villain, it, he, she or they can be cast as a mere competitor for some alternate aim or goal. Perhaps to do a good for an opposing need, attempting to block the protagonist from a specific goal. Or, perhaps the aim of the antagonist can be something dastardly but devastating. The key thing to remember is that antagonists are often used to drive conflict and create suspense in stories. This works across the board for novels, short stories, plays, and movies. Again, this is a tug of war, so to speak, with the protagonist and antagonist matched and continually at odds with each other. The protagonist will want to reach a goal which their opponent does not want them to reach. This drives up the stakes in the conflict between them and make for good drama in your story. Now, on how to create sidekicks for your novel or short story. Sidekicks are characters that are as interesting as the protagonist, but they don't need to do the heavy lifting to carry the story. Sidekicks are usually secondary characters who provide comic relief and help the protagonist in their quest. Or, you could develop an alternate desire or need for them to achieve. There are various ways to make your sidekicks interesting by giving them a backstory and a personality with elements of intrigue. Some elements which the protagonist may be aware of, but with some elements that the protagonist/friend may not be aware. However, to make it more interesting, the antagonist may be aware of the duplicity of the sidekick. And having this knowledge can be played in ways that drive up the stakes on both sides of the story. Through all of this with the sidekick, you can have them grow with the protagonist. Or they could grow apart, while at the same time limitedly exposing flaws and vulnerabilities. Refer back to a character sketch and the plot to give them more to do. Something beyond just standing around rooting for or waiting for someone else to respond in a situation. So if you start here with what I shared with you today, you will be off to a good start with story characterization. See my follow-up video on how to draw character sketches. But be sure to thumbs up and subscribe so that you can catch my next helpful video from the Writer's Nook.